Good evening, family. Welcome back to No More Silent, where we give our sisters the stage to tell their truths, unfiltered, unapologetic, and real. Tonight, I want you to sit down, put your phone away, and lock in, because this story right here, this one's gonna shake you. I have with me tonight Miss Maribel, 71 years young, a mother who gave everything, and I mean everything, to her only daughter. And when that daughter was about to walk down the aisle, Maribel wasn't even invited to the wedding she paid for. But baby, what happened next? That's why we're here. Miss Maribel, welcome. Thank you for trusting us with your story.
Thank you, baby. Thank you for having me. You know, I drove 800 miles to get to my daughter Maria's wedding. 800 miles. I left at midnight, drove through the night with my suitcase in the trunk and my heart so full I thought it might burst. I hadn't seen my baby in months. She'd been so busy with wedding planning, with her fiancé Sergio, with her new life, but I understood. I told myself, she's building her future. That's what mothers want. So I get there at 6 in the morning. I'm tired, but I'm excited. You hear me? I knock on that door with my bags in my hand, ready to help her get dressed, ready to cry happy tears, ready to be mama on the most important day of her life. Maria opens the door, and the first thing out of her mouth wasn't mama, it wasn't a hug, it wasn't joy. She looked at me like I was a stranger who showed up at the wrong address and said, "I'm sorry, mama. I didn't know you were coming." I stood there on that porch, 71 years old, and something cracked inside me. Not broke, cracked, like when you see the first line in a glass right before it shatters. But I smiled. I said, "Well, baby, I'm here now."
Oh, Lord. Miss Maribel, I already know this is about to hurt. So when you knocked on that door at 6 in the morning after driving 800 miles, what did they tell you?
Then her fiancé Sergio comes up behind her with this slick smile he always had, the kind of smile that never reached his eyes. And he says, Lord, I can still hear his voice. He says, "She thinks $63,000 guarantees her a seat at the table." $63,000. That's what I gave them for that wedding, my retirement savings, money I saved working double shifts, managing apartments, cleaning houses when I had to. That was my life in a bank account. And this man who I barely knew, threw that number in my face like I was some investor expecting a return. Not a mother, not Maria's mama who raised her alone from the time she was 8 years old after her daddy walked out on us. Not the woman who sold her car so Maria could go to college. Not the woman who worked herself half to death so my baby could have everything I didn't. Number. To him, I was $63,000 with a pulse. My name is Maribel. I'm 71 years old, and for most of my life I believed that being a good mother meant giving everything and expecting nothing back. I believed sacrifice was love. I believed if I just loved hard enough, it would all come back around. I raised Maria by myself. Her father left us when she was 8, just walked out one day and never came back. So it was me and her against the world. I worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3. I missed sleep. I missed meals. I missed having a life of my own because she was my life. I put her through college, paid every dime. When she graduated, I helped her get her first apartment, bought her a car, helped with her rent when she was starting out. Anything she needed, I gave it. No questions asked. Then 3 years ago, she met Sergio. At first, I thought, thank God, my baby found somebody. He was charming, educated, had a good job, treated her nice, at least when I was around. I thought, finally, Maria's gonna have the kind of partnership I never had. But slowly, and I mean slowly, like poison in your water, he started changing her. It started with little comments. "Your mama's always calling, huh? Don't you think it's time you made your own decisions? You're a grown woman, Maria. You don't need permission from your mother. And I watched my daughter pull away from me. Calls got shorter. Visits got rarer. She stopped asking my opinion, stopped telling me about her life. I told myself it was normal. She's building her own family. That's what grown children do. But deep down, I knew. I knew something was wrong. Then one day, Maria calls me crying. "Mama, Sergio proposed. We're getting married." I screamed. I cried. I thanked God. My baby was getting married. 2 weeks later, she calls again. "Mama, we want a big wedding, a beautiful wedding, the kind you see in magazines. But we need help." I didn't even hesitate. "How much, baby?" $63,000. My heart stopped. That was almost everything I had saved for retirement. But it was Maria. It was my only child, her wedding day. "I'll do it," I said. "I'll make it happen." She cried. She thanked me. She said, "Mama, you're the best. I promise we'll pay you back." I believed her. I transferred that money the next day, cleared out my savings account, didn't think twice. And you know what Sergio said when the money hit their account? He called me. "Maribel, since you're paying for the wedding, obviously you'll have a front row seat." I thought he was joking. I laughed. "Boy, stop playing." But he wasn't joking. Oh.
Oh, baby, he called you out your name after everything you did. So what did you do next?
When Maria opened that door and told me she didn't know I was coming, I thought maybe there was some confusion. Maybe she forgot to put me on the guest list. Maybe it was just wedding stress. But then Sergio stepped up, and the way he looked at me, that man looked at me like I was an inconvenience, like I was some distant relative who showed up uninvited. I said, "Baby, I drove all night to be here. I'm your mama. Of course I'm coming to your wedding." Maria wouldn't even look me in the eye. She just stood there in her silk robe, getting ready for her day, and she couldn't even look at me. Sergio put his hand on her shoulder, like he was protecting her from me, and he said, "Maribel, the ceremony is very intimate, just close family." Close family. I felt my chest tighten. I said, "I am close family. I'm her mother." He smiled, that cold, fake smile. "Look, we already have everything organized. The seating, the reception, everything's calculated. We appreciate your contribution, but Maria and I decided we want a small ceremony, just the people closest to us." Contribution. Like I donated to a charity. Closest to us. Like I wasn't the woman who held Maria when she cried herself to sleep after her daddy left. Like I wasn't the one who sat up all night when she was sick with fever. Like I wasn't the one who worked myself into the ground so she could have a life. I looked at Maria. I searched her face for my little girl, for the baby I raised, for the daughter who used to call me every day just to hear my voice. But she wasn't there anymore. This woman standing in front of me, she was a stranger. She finally spoke. Her voice was quiet, tired. "Mama, we already have everything planned. The seats in the church, the reception. It's all calculated." Calculated. That word cut me deeper than anything Sergio said, because it came from her, my daughter, the one I sacrificed everything for. I stood there on that porch with my suitcase, 71 years old, and I realized something that broke me and freed me at the same time. I had raised someone who saw me as a bank account, not a mother, not family, a resource. Sergio kept talking. "We're really grateful for your financial support, Maribel, but this day is about Maria and me starting our life together. I'm sure you understand." And right then, right in that moment, Something inside me went ice cold. I stopped feeling hurt. I stopped feeling sad. I felt clarity. I looked at both of them standing in that doorway, and I said very calmly, "I understand." Sergio smiled like he won. Maria looked relieved, like the awkward moment was finally over. But they had no idea what I understood. They had no idea that I wasn't just some old woman they could dismiss. I walked back to my car with my head held high, got in, closed the door, started the engine, and then I pulled out my phone and called my bank. "Good morning. I need to freeze a transfer I made 2 weeks ago." The woman on the line was professional. "Of course, ma'am. May I ask the reason?" I didn't even hesitate. Fraud. Family fraud. 5 minutes later, that $63,000 was frozen. Maria's perfect wedding. It just became her worst nightmare. I drove to the nicest hotel in town, not the cheap motel where I usually stayed when I visited. No, I wanted luxury. I wanted to feel valued, even if it was just by strangers at a front desk who smiled at me because I was paying for a service. The receptionist greeted me like I mattered. "Welcome, Miss Maribel. We hope you enjoy your stay." It felt good, better than it should have. But after being treated like garbage by my own child, even basic human kindness felt like a warm blanket. I checked into a suite, poured myself a glass of wine, sat by the window, and I waited. I didn't have to wait long. My phone started ringing. Once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maria, Sergio, Maria again. Unknown number. Probably Sergio calling from someone else's phone. Maria, Sergio, Maria. I let every single call go to voicemail. Then I listened to the messages. First one was Maria. Her voice was shaking. "Mama, please, I need to talk to you. There's been some kind of mistake with the bank. Please call me back." Mistake. How convenient to call it a mistake now that the money was gone. Second message was Sergio. And baby, his whole tone was different now. "Maribel, I don't know what game you're playing, but this is serious. We have vendors to pay, a venue, guests flying in from out of state. Fix this immediately." Game. He thought I was playing a game. But the third message, that's the one that sealed his fate. Sergio again. And this time, he wasn't even pretending to be respectful. "Listen to me, you old woman. I don't know what's wrong with you, but if you don't fix this in the next 2 hours, you're going to regret it. Maria is crying because of you. Is that what you want? To make your own daughter suffer? Old woman." He called me an old woman. And then had the nerve to blame me for Maria's tears. That message? That was the moment I decided I wasn't just freezing the money. I was going to dismantle everything.
Oh, she came back to you. Thank God. So what was the plan, Miss Maribel? How did you get her out?
I called my lawyer first thing the next morning. His name is Alejandro. He'd been my attorney since my divorce years ago. He knew my whole financial situation, my properties, my investments, everything Maria and Sergio didn't know about. "Alejandro, I need to see you. First thing. It's urgent." I told him everything, every detail, every humiliation, every cruel word. When I finished, there was a long silence on the other end. Then he said, "Maribel, are you sure you want to do this? Once we start, there's no going back." I didn't even blink. "I'm sure." "All right then, let's protect what's yours." See, what Maria and Sergio didn't know was that I wasn't just some broke old woman living off Social Security. I had been smart with my money for years. I owned 3 rental properties. I had investments. I had a pension. That $63,000, It hurt to give, but it wasn't going to leave me homeless. But they didn't need to know that. They thought I had given them everything. They thought I was desperate for their approval. They thought I needed them. That's where they messed up. Alejandro drew up papers that afternoon. Legal documents stating the $63,000 was a loan, not a gift. With interest, with a repayment plan, with consequences if they defaulted. I also had him draft a letter, a beautiful professional letter explaining that due to unforeseen circumstances and disrespectful treatment, I was formally requesting the return of my funds within 30 days. We sent it certified mail. They had to sign for it. Meanwhile, my phone kept ringing. Maria called 23 times in 2 days. Sergio called 16. I didn't answer a single one, but I did listen to the voicemails. And baby, they got desperate. Maria's messages went from confused to panicked to angry to begging. Mama, please, I don't understand what's happening. Mama, we can't pay the vendors without that money. Mama, people are asking questions. This is embarrassing. Mama, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Just please call me back. Sergio's messages? They showed me exactly who he was. You're being childish, Maribel. This is extortion. You're ruining your daughter's life out of spite. Maria is having a breakdown because of you. I hope you're happy. Every message made me more sure I was doing the right thing. Then, 3 days before the wedding was supposed to happen, Maria showed up at my hotel. The front desk called my room. Miss Maribel, there's a young woman here asking for you. She says she's your daughter. I paused, took a breath. Send her up. When I opened the door, Maria looked destroyed. Her eyes were red and swollen. Her hair was a mess. She'd lost weight. She didn't say anything at first. She just stood there looking at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Then she broke. Mama, why are you doing this to me? I stepped aside and let her in. Closed the door. Didn't say a word. She paced the room, crying, talking fast. We've had to cancel everything. The venue, the flowers, the photographer. People are asking what happened. Sergio's family thinks I'm crazy. His mother keeps calling me asking what's wrong with my mother. Do you know how humiliating this is? I sat down calmly in the chair by the window. How humiliating is it to drive 800 miles to your daughter's wedding and be told you're not invited? She froze. How humiliating is it, I continued, to give your life savings to your only child and be called a contribution, to be treated like a stranger, to have your daughter's fiancé call you an old woman and threaten you. Maria's face went pale. He called you? Multiple times. Would you like to hear the voicemails? I pulled out my phone, played Sergio's messages on speaker. With every word, I watched my daughter's face change. The anger melted, the defensiveness cracked, and something else came through. Recognition. When the messages ended, she sat down on the edge of the bed and put her face in her hands. I didn't know he said those things to you. Baby, there's a lot you don't know. And that's not your fault. That's what men like Sergio do. They isolate you. They make you think the people who love you are the problem. They turn you against your own blood so they can control you. Maria looked up at me with tears streaming down her face. Mama, I'm so sorry. I know you are, baby. But sorry doesn't fix this. We need to talk about what happens next. She wiped her eyes. The wedding's already canceled. Sergio is furious. He keeps saying you manipulated me, that you ruined everything because you're jealous. I almost laughed. Jealous of what? A man who disrespects the woman who raised you? A man who sees you as a prize he won instead of a partner he cherishes? I didn't see it before, Maria whispered. I really didn't see it. Because he didn't let you see it. But now you do. So the question is, what are you going to do about it? Maria took a long, shaky breath. I need to end it. For real. Not just cancel the wedding. End the whole relationship. Are you sure? She nodded. I'm sure. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm sure. I reached over and took her hand. Then I'm going to help you. But you need to trust me. Can you do that? Yes, Mama, I trust you. That night, Maria stayed in my hotel room. We ordered room service. We talked for hours, really talked, like we hadn't in years. And I told her the plan. The plan was simple but powerful. We were going to take back Maria's voice, and we were going to do it publicly. See, Sergio had already started telling people that I was the problem, that I was a controlling, manipulative mother who couldn't let go of my daughter. He was painting himself as the victim and Maria as the poor girl caught in the middle. So I told Maria, baby, we're going to tell the truth, all of it, with receipts. Now I'm 71 years old. I don't do social media, never had Facebook, Instagram, none of that. But Maria did, and she had friends, lots of them. We started with a post, simple, direct, honest. Maria wrote, I need to share something with all of you. My wedding has been canceled, not because of my mother, but because I finally opened my eyes to who I was really marrying. My mama tried to warn me, and I didn't listen. I'm sorry, Mama, and thank you for loving me enough to fight for me even when I fought against you. Within an hour, that post had hundreds of likes, comments poured in, friends asking if she was okay, family members offering support. But Sergio? Sergio lost his mind. He started posting his own version. Maria's mother manipulated her into canceling our wedding. She's jealous and controlling. Don't believe her lies. So we posted screenshots, his threatening messages to me, his voicemails, his insults, every single one. And baby, the tide turned fast. Women started commenting, women who knew him, women who had dated him. One woman named Letitia wrote a whole post. Sergio did the exact same thing to me 2 years ago. He isolated me from my family, controlled my money, made me believe my mother was toxic. When I finally left him, he tried to destroy my reputation too. Seeing Maria go through this breaks my heart, but I'm so glad she has a mother like Maribel who fought for her. After Letitia spoke up, 3 more women came forward. 3, all with the same story. Maria read every comment with tears in her eyes. Mama, I could have been stuck with him forever. But you're not, baby, you're free. Sergio tried to fight back online, but every time he posted something, it made him look worse. These women are lying. Maribel is paying people to attack me. Maria was happy until her mother interfered. People saw right through him. His employer saw it too. Within a week, he lost his job. His reputation was shattered. And Maria? Maria was finally free. But the most important moment came 2 weeks later. Maria and I were sitting in my living room packing up the last of her things from the apartment she'd shared with Sergio. She was moving back home with me, just temporarily, until she got back on her feet. She looked at me and said, Mama, there's something I need to know. What is it, baby? Why did you give me the money in the first place? If you knew Sergio was bad news, why did you pay for the wedding? I put down the box I was holding and sat next to her. Because I couldn't just tell you he was wrong for you. You wouldn't have believed me. You would have thought I was jealous or controlling, just like he said. So I gave you the money because I knew. I knew. that a man like Sergio would show his true colors the moment he felt secure. And he did. Maria stared at me. You knew this would happen? I didn't know exactly how it would happen, but I knew that if I gave him what he wanted, he'd get comfortable. He'd stop pretending. And when he showed you who he really was, I'd be there to catch you. She started crying. You sacrificed $63,000 just to save me? Baby, I would have sacrificed 10 times that to get you back. Maria threw her arms around me and sobbed. I'm so sorry, Mama. I'm so sorry. I know you are, and I forgive you. We stayed like that for a long time, just holding each other. Eventually, she pulled back and wiped her eyes. So what happens to the money now? I smiled. Alejandro's handling it. Sergio signed papers when I first gave him the money. He just didn't read them carefully. It was a loan, not a gift. He has to pay it back, with interest. Maria's eyes went wide. He has to pay you back? Every penny. And if he doesn't, we take legal action. But honestly, I don't care about the money anymore. I got what I wanted. I got my daughter back. 3 months later, Maria had a new job, a new apartment, new friends who actually respected her, and she'd started dating someone new, a good man who treated her right and who encouraged her to talk to me every day. As for me, I sold one of my rental properties and used the money to finally do something I'd been putting off for years. I traveled. By myself. To places I'd always wanted to see but never had time for because I was too busy taking care of everyone else. And you know what I learned? That I'm not just Maria's mama. I'm Maribel. I'm a whole person with dreams and desires and a life that matters. One afternoon, Maria and I met for lunch at our favorite spot, a little soul food place we used to go to when she was in college. She looked at me across the table and said, Mama, I want to thank you for something. For what, baby? For being strong enough to fight for me even when I was fighting against you. A lot of mothers would have just let me make the mistake. But you didn't. You risked everything. Our relationship, your money, your peace, to save me. That's real love. I reached across the table and took her hand. That's the thing about being a mother, Maria. Real love isn't always soft. Sometimes it's fierce. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes you have to be the villain in your child's story so they can be the hero in their own. You were never the villain, Mama. You were always the hero. I just couldn't see it. We sat there, hand in hand, 2 black women who'd been through hell and came out stronger. And I thought about all the women out there, mothers, daughters, sisters, who are stuck in situations like Maria was, who are being manipulated, isolated, controlled. If my story can help even one woman recognize the signs, then every mile I drove, every dollar I spent, every tear I cried was worth it. Because here's what I learned. You don't owe anyone access to you just because they demand it. Not your time, not your money, not your peace, not even your children. Love is not the same as sacrifice. And being a good mother doesn't mean letting people destroy you or your child. I'm 71 years old. I drove 800 miles to a wedding I wasn't invited to. I froze $63,000. I fought for my daughter when she couldn't fight for herself. And I do it all again, because that's what love looks like when it has a backbone.
Miss Maribel, I don't even have words. You didn't just save your daughter. You showed every woman watching this that real love requires boundaries. That sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no. That being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. Maria is blessed to have you, and we are blessed to hear your story. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your strength. And thank you for reminding us that we are never too old to stand up for ourselves. Family, if this story touched you, share it. Because somewhere out there is a mother who needs to hear this. Somewhere out there is a daughter who needs to wake up. Until next time, stay strong, stay vigilant, and stay silent no more.